Today we're going to be focusing on a vegetable that's used in every single cuisine extensively. It's used in Italian cooking, in Middle Eastern cooking, in Indian cooking, in Greek cooking, and so many more. It's Chinese cooking as well. And it's used in many different variations and forms. And today we will be using it in an unusual variation, which is why I wanted to video this recipe. We are talking about eggplant. Eggplant comes in many different varieties. There's Japanese, Italian, Chinese, Indian eggplants, which is what we're going to be using today. And then there are also these big goblet eggplants, which are really giant, and they are used to roast and make like a mash out of. So let's focus on today's dish, which is with baby eggplants, or Indian eggplants as they're called. So these eggplants, usually these Indian eggplants are tiny and super cute. They're not as tiny as these guys today, but they're more this size or a little bit bigger. I found them at the farmer's market this weekend, and I thought they were particularly really fresh and cute, and I bought them. What we're going to do is we are going to make slits across them like this, and I'm going to keep the stems intact. So you're just going through this and making 4 slits and not going right through. So do you see, like this way I can split it up and fill it up with spices, but it's going to still hold on, so that when it cooks it's really pretty and still holds on to its shape. So we'll do that with all of these. And in terms of spices, what we're going to do is use a combination of really pungent spices, and this can be made many different ways. It can be made with different spice fillings and a few different vegetables. We are making something called kalonji, which stands for onion seeds, and this particular spice mix is primarily flavored by onion seeds, and that's why it's called kalonji began. Began means eggplant. So the spices we're going to be using is whole chilies, whole coriander seeds, fennel seeds, onion seeds, and fenugreek seeds. Now see, even if you visually look at this, even if I don't tell you proportions, the fenugreek seeds and the onion seeds are much smaller in quantity than the fennel and the coriander. And you want to be careful with that, because you don't want to have too much of fenugreek seeds, because that will make it bitter. So keep that proportion less, and the same for onion seeds. So this is around half a teaspoon of fenugreek seeds, half a teaspoon of onion seeds, a tablespoon of coriander seeds, and 2 tablespoons of fennel seeds. And this will all be in the written recipe, so you have that for reference. Chilies you can change up as however much you like. Here there are, I think, 5 chilies, whole chilies, and we're going to roast this whole mixture, dry roast it, and make it aromatic, and then grind it and then stuff it in the eggplants. Along with that, we are going to use some minced garlic, and we're going to use some mango powder to give some tartness. Now, as I said, you can change this up many different ways. You could add onions to this, you could omit the garlic, you could do different spice form to give it a different flavor. It's like a blank canvas, and you can really change it up, and they're all delicious. So let's get right to it. I'm going to make slits on all of these, and then I will show you how to roast the spices. So we have a pan heating up, and in this pan I'm going to dry roast the spices. When I say dry roast, all I mean is we're going to roast the spices or toast the spices without any oil, and you're going to toast them just to the point where it's fragrant and not burnt. If you burn a spice, it's burnt forever. You cannot salvage it. So just remember that you just want to toast it till it's fragrant. So make sure you're focused when you do this, and don't get distracted, because it'll happen pretty fast. So here's my onion seeds going in, my whole chilies. You can make it more spicy or less spicy. My fenugreek seeds, the fennel seeds, and the coriander seeds. And you're going to just stir it, and you'll either start smelling it or seeing it change color, or both. And this will happen, if your pan is hot, this will happen pretty quickly. And some of them will start popping. That's all normal and expected. Okay. I can smell it already. The onion seeds and the fennel. And I don't know if you all can hear it. I can hear it pop and crackle. So don't wait for it to become really dark brown, because that means you've gone too far. So I'm going to switch this off. That's all it took, like barely 30 seconds. And then we are going to put this in my coffee grinder, spice grinder, whatever you have. Just put that in it. And then you're going to do a coarse blend. And then you mix some mango powder into this and the garlic and salt. Make sure you taste the salt before you start doing the filling, because you can't flavor it later. And make sure your salt is higher than you want it to be, because the eggplant doesn't have any salt. So this will get diluted once it goes into the eggplant. Okay, that's good enough. So I'm going to blend this and make it into a powder and get right back. Alright, so this is what the spice mix looks like. And into this I'm going to add some mango powder for tartness, so around a tablespoon of mango powder. That goes in. And then I am going to add 4 or 5 cloves of garlic finely minced. So that goes into this. And some salt to taste. Like I said before, make sure it's salty enough, because you're not going to have an opportunity to salt it later. So a generous amount of salt, and mix this whole mixture in. If you were adding onions, they would also get mixed in right now. So just mix it in so that it's evenly mixed. And now this whole mixture is going to be stuffed into the eggplant. Some people use tamarind instead of mango powder, so you can totally use that. So there's many variations of this. So I'm going to show you how to stuff a few. So you're going to take this eggplant and you are going to add a little bit, and then using a butter knife, just kind of push it down so it gets a nice amount of filling. Don't worry if some falls over, that's okay. Now open it the other side and just stuff that. So that's how this looks. I'll show you another one, a bigger one. So again, and this is like, it's a strange flavor. It's very fragrant, but it's also got some bitterness because of the fenugreek and onion seeds, but it all balances out somehow, and it's really delicious. I really want you all to try this. And so I'm going to stuff all of these, and then we'll come back and start cooking them. See you in a sec. So we're back. We have all of these stuffed, as you can see. I usually keep like around 3 or 4 per head when they're so tiny. If they're this size, probably 3 is plenty. If they're these baby sizes, maybe 4. So once your pan is hot, which mine is, I'm going to use mustard oil. You don't have to use mustard oil. You can use any neutral tasting oil. And then just do a swirl around the pan and a little bit more. Once this is hot, then you're going to just layer an eggplant in one single layer. If they don't fit, I'll do it in 2 batches. Otherwise, you can also use a bigger pan. I do have some of the spice mixture left over, so I'm going to sprinkle that onto the eggplant once we have it in. So, wait for this to get hot, and I'm going to start placing them. Careful of the splatter, and I'm on medium-high heat right now. These look gorgeous when they're served up. Oh, we might just be able to get them all. Be a little bit crowded, but we got them. And so now I am going to sprinkle the remaining spice blend If you don't have any leftover, don't worry, you don't have to have it. Okay, so now we are going to not fiddle with them too much. We're going to let this steam and cook through, and because these are like really fresh and in season, it will cook pretty fast. So I'm going to put a lid on this and wait for it to cook on one side before I peek in and flip it over. So I'm just going to put a lid on this, and then I'll check in on this in 5 minutes and I'll be back. In 5 minutes, let's take a look. So I'm going to just walk. So do you see this color, like this dark color on the side? That tells you it's getting toasty. So I'm just going to flip these so that they evenly cook. It's easier to just use my hands. And you're cooking on medium heat. Just make sure they're not on really high heat because they'll start burning. And these are really tender, so they'll cook pretty fast. So if you've ever heard of Baigan Bharta, which is like the mashed eggplant, don't do it with these. You need the big globe eggplant for those. So these are just meant for stuffing and cooking whole, mostly. So now I'm going to cover them back to steam and roast from the other side. Alright, it's been 5 minutes. Let's take a look. I'm just going to poke these a little bit, and they look pretty tender, evenly tender, especially the baby ones. So look at this, how evenly brown it is, and it's gorgeous, and it's pretty much done. So I'm going to turn this off. Okay, here we have this. It's ready, kalonji baigan. It's evenly cooked, it's super tender and very delicious. You can serve this with rice or roti. If you do serve it with rice, make sure there's something liquidy with it, or yogurt or something. It's a really bold flavor, and it's something you've probably never had. You don't get this in restaurants, so do give it a try and let me know how it goes. See you next time.